Well, I know it wasn't the Imperfects because I was not in it, but you sure are.
Yes.
And it is raging on Netflix right now. It just dropped and people are binge watching it like mad. I got to tell you, I love it. It's fresh. It's hip.
Fun.
Very different style of work with the camera work and how they go about it, the real conversations. I really feel like I'm in the room with you and everybody else. So tell us a little bit about the show, how that came to be, and what's been going on with it.
I read the script and I was like, this is kind of cool, and it could go either way. It could be like cool and edgy and funky, like the way I'm reading it in my mind, or it could be like very clean cut and like every other show. And so I had a meeting with the producers and the creators, and I love their vibe, and I was like, let's do it. I love the idea that like it's mostly the kids and I'm just Giles, and like, which was really nice because I was a new mom and I didn't want to be away for 16 hours a day, Monday to Friday, and not see my child who needs me. So it just was all of the perfect things coming together. And so I shot it. And as we're shooting it, Matthias, who did the pilot, I'd never seen just like 3 cameras roaming around while you're doing a scene and not really sure like where anybody's going to be. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be really cool or just really uncomfortable. And then I ended up seeing a first cut and I was like, thank God, it's so cool. And then I was doing ADR and I got to hear some of the music choices. And I was like, it's so different and it's like refreshing. And it's kind of like graphic novel and punky and grungy and horror, but funny and weird. I just really think it's different and I think it's fresh. And I was really glad to have done it. And now I'm even more proud to see how great it's doing. And the kids having, I think none of them had been series regulars before, were all phenomenal and they held their own. And kids, they're all 20 something, but they were all so impressive for their first like leading roles. I was blown away by all of them, all of their talent and professionalism.
I wasn't sure if they were newcomers, and because they seem that they are very much entrenched in there and they've done this before.
Exactly.
So that was good. The truth is also you're helping them along with it. You're really, your presence on the show, and when you're on set and you're in a scene, I think your experience helps them a lot. And I love your character. I just love the sarcasm. I love how straight you play it, and it's fantastic. And I think you're really bringing a different component because they all have their own little worlds, obviously, and their personalities and how they're going about their lives on the show. But I think you're the glue that keeps it together, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I wasn't really sure which way to go with Sydney because Tilda is so rock and Abby is so science. And Juan is so like sweet, innocent boy, so they're and Reese, who plays Sarkov, is so mad scientist. So I was like, why don't I play the like everybody project how you're feeling onto me character so that the audience feels like they've got, skin in the game a little bit. And it ended up coming out very dry and sarcastic, which I think just was me playing me in an alternate universe kind of thing. Cause I feel like a lot of those, like, I think a few of them were ad libs and all of the wine comments I think were mine.
I really felt watching Dr. Sidney Burke, I felt like I was talking to Italia Ricci. For the amount of conversations we've had together over the course of our friendship, I can say, yes, that is your personality. That is real. And that makes it really cool that you're able to bring your personality into it. But on the same token, I can see that because things you're saying as that character are things I'm saying and I would want to say to these characters. Yeah. So you're right. We are almost projecting ourselves through you. So you're our eyes on the show. I never thought of it that way.
And a lot of that was Dennis Heaton, who created it and ran it. He was so receptive to that. And then as we figured out that was the angle we were going to go, we sort of tailored more of the dialogue towards that, which I think is a very nurturing way to make your cast feel safe and trusted. And it's really nice.
Love it. Now, for background for the fans so they understand, because we can always get this information. So first of all, where was it shot?
In Vancouver.
So shot entirely in Vancouver?
Well, like outside of Vancouver, but yes.
And then to kind of spoil for people to know, so season 1 comes out, 10 episodes so far, right? Mm-hmm. Now, how long would that take from beginning to end to actually shoot 10 episodes?
I think it took us 4 months.
4 months, okay. Mm-hmm.
We shot 2 episodes at a time over the course of 2 weeks. So there'd be 2 directors. Or no, so one director did 2 episodes at a time. Yeah. My stomach's growling.
Well, that's okay. It's almost time for brunch. So
I know. To hit some Egg McMuffins on the way home.
Nice. Now, when you watch different seasons of a show, all of a sudden you can see when somebody's hair changed. They all of a sudden seem like they got older overnight, and that's because it's not that it just took a 2-month hiatus. It's several months in between seasons.
Oh yeah, or years.
Yes.
Sorry.
Depending on the show.
My stomach. Yeah, it could be years. Like I feel like if we go back, then it would probably be about a year between that and I think between Designated wasn't that far apart because it was network. But yeah, and the hair is funny that you talk about that because I remember my hair is quite a bit lighter on the show because they didn't want me to look too much like Tilda. I'm like 12 years older than her. I'm not going to look like her as much as I want to, which was funny. So hopefully I don't have to do that again because that ruined my...
Now, the buzz on the internet right now, it's so funny. Season 1 just dropped, literally. Everybody's all over this. And right away, when you Google into it, and I wanted to see what the feedback is from fans and see how things are going, there's a very common trend. It's, when is season 2 going to be confirmed? Is season 2 in the books? Is it being shot right now? That's the buzz on the internet. You know
I have not had any confirmation that we've gotten a season 2 yet.
But it's so funny that it literally just came out. You think they would digest season 1, enjoy it for a little while, and they're already looking ahead because
you binge it, and then you want to know how long you have to wait, or how, do you want to get that invested in a show? A lot of people I've read, because anybody who says they don't Google themselves is lying. And I look at the same things, and so I've read, I want to know if this gets a season 2 before I start watching it because I don't want to get invested and then have nothing left, which I kind of relate to. I get it. So it's fine. I think hopefully we should hear soon, but I'm the last that will know.
I'm so thrilled that people get that emotionally invested into a program and get into the characters, because it's true, on social media they start dissecting all the characters and they start dissecting the plot lines, and is there hidden clues and there are things that we missed or didn't miss. Like they're forensic show experts.
Oh yeah,
in trying to CSI these shows.
They figure out things that I didn't even understand. It's crazy. And what's nice is that our show, I think, relates to a lot of people because there's so much representation across genders, orientations, we try. I don't even know if it was on purpose, but there's like I've noticed in all the Twitter comments, it's like somebody's like, yes, I'm getting, my people or my things I'm into, or I mean, there's the Chupacabra's girlfriend who's kind of into the Chupacabra. There's people that relate to that, and you're like, great, everybody, we're all here, we're all together. And I like to address everybody who likes the Imperfects as freaks, because the Imperfects call themselves freaks, and I'm a freak, and I welcome freaks.
I always say that to be normal, you're not normal. That's the way it is.
Normal's boring.
I don't know what normal is.
Well, yeah, what is normal even anymore?
But just to be quirky and to be unique and to be yourself, that's normal.
Well, your baseline, what you think is just like basic existence, I think would be normal, but that sounds boring, I think. I don't know. This is getting existential.
Now, I can tell you, though, people have asked me that haven't watched the show, how would I describe the show? Fair or not fair, I kind of thought, because I do binge watch certain shows, and I said, this is kind of The Boys meets Walking Dead, kind of, sort of, but it's more... every show is unique in its own way, obviously, and not one is exactly like the other. But when you have shows that are established already, for somebody to have kind of an idea of where it's going, definitely not Walking Dead as far as the plot line goes, but more as far as, I would say, the realness of it being in with the characters, so to speak.
I kind of feel more of like a Buffy meets Orphan Black kind of vibe. But like it's just because it's shot so cool and the soundtrack's amazing. You get anywhere from like Billie Eilish to Taylor Swift to like Metallica covers. It's amazing. And so I feel like there's been, what else have I read that people have said it's like Lost Girl? A lot of The Boys though I get, which is I think just because it's kind of dry and funny and like just lets it go past and doesn't like harp on it for too long. I think, I don't know.
And the whole idea of supernatural powers and things of that kind of
yeah,
nature.
well,
So,
that's like
yeah.
any other
Right.
show, which is funny because I had only, well, it's actually what's funny is I played the Silver Banshee on Supergirl, and then there's a Banshee in the show. And I don't know why I never made the connection to put some sort of line about it in there somewhere. Maybe season 2.
Season 2. Now, you spend this much time with the other actresses on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you become friends with them? Do you still keep in touch? Like when it's done filming, do you guys text one another? Like how does that work?
We have an Imperfects chat group. I kind of hung out the most with Reese, who plays Dr. Sarkov, because our schedules were more similar. Because the three, I call them kids. The 3 main characters were in so much, so it wasn't. And I had my baby, so I was like, anybody want to come hang out with me and my 1-year-old? Like, I'm not really all that. I don't have the invites piling up on my coffee table. But we would hang out in parks and just hang and stuff during filming. But again, the shooting was really intense because there was so much to shoot in so little time. For example, Designated Survivor season 3 would probably took 6 months, and that was 13 episodes, an hour each. Where this, we shot 4 months, 10 episodes. Like it was really, and like hard out day. It was a really tough schedule, which is why, again, I commend the newer actors to it because they handled it with like incredible grace and efficacy, and their performances were just outstanding. But anyway, what was the question?
You being Dr. Sydney Burke,
Mm-hmm.
what was your science background going into this?
Oh, nothing. I didn't know half the things I was saying. Just like memorizing a long number.
Because it came out so well. I really believe that you are a doctor and you really understand this stuff.
I mean, I would Google the proper pronunciation, but like I didn't. I mean, I know what a mitochondria is, but like my 8th grade science is as far as I probably went, I think.
I can tell you, because when I watch a show and I think to myself, if I had to play a doctor and I struggled in chemistry, grade 10, I'd be, oh boy.
You don't have to understand it. You just have to act like you do.
Fantastic. Kind of like the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Now, looking back as far as the different roles you've had, which ones would you say best prepped you for this one? Would you say it was Supergirl, was it Chasing Life, or was it a bit of everything?
I mean, a bit of everything, just as far as like knowing how to work on a set, knowing how to like get the most efficient rehearsal done or whatever, like the nuts and bolts of it, just from being on sets for as long as I have been. But I think for the dialogue, Designated, because I had to spew political jargon while walking 100 miles a minute. And, it became like learning music almost, instead of having to understand exactly what I was talking about, which I'm sure somebody's going to be like, well, this is all of the wrong things you should do as an actor, but it's what I do. And so learning the medical and the scientific stuff was also very similar, where it was just I'd say it and it's almost like hitting a beat, and you can kind of hear the music of the way the words are supposed to go. And that's how my brain absorbed them anyway.